All right. All right. Back here with candidate conversations with Skye. We have Gabi Madden. She's running for New York State Assembly in a District 103 in the Democratic primary. So welcome to the show, Gabi.
Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it.
So let's get to know you. Let's just dive right into it. I know that you've worked in Albany as a staffer, and now it's time for you to run. So what's inspiring you to jump into the race at this point?
Yeah, so my hometown community has a real need right now. We need increased funding to bolster our infrastructure. We have a housing crisis, a utility crisis, an overall affordability crisis. And so we really need strong representation up in Albany that is in tune with the constituency back here in the district. And that's just something that we haven't been seeing the past 2 years. From not having a district office to not advancing any legislative items specific to our district, my opponent really hasn't addressed the needs of her constituency. And coming from government operations, serving within the state legislature almost 6 years now, I understand how important that representation is. And those hands-on relationships really serve not only the individual or the organizations that you're partnering with, school districts, municipalities, but the constituency at large. And at the end of the day, that is what your job is as an elected official, is serving all of the residents within your district, not just a small portion of them that you ideologically agree with. And so just recognizing that need, knowing that I've built up the skills and the tools to really do an amazing job at this role, and advance a lot of different legislative proposals, bring tons of budget funding, your tax dollars back into the district. I mean, I've been able to do that in a staff capacity for the past 6 years, and now it's time for me to do it as a candidate, as a leader of this community that's helped to raise me.
Yeah. And now, speaking of raising you, talk to us a little bit about your upbringing.
Yeah, absolutely. So born and raised in Kingston, New York. My mom, Cecilia Savona, and my dad, Billy Madden. My dad was a photographer for the Daily Freeman, our local paper, and my mom was the sales manager at the Ramada Inn. The Ramada Inn has since closed, and I have a sister, an older sister. She's 3 years older than me, Francesca. Again, we were raised in Kingston, New York. When I had just turned 10 years old, my father had passed away somewhat suddenly. We definitely did not, have any expectation of that occurring anytime soon. He struggled with diabetes, but, we thought that his health was in good standing. So that was quite a shocker to my family. It kind of just changed the trajectory of my life. Single parent household, that you have a reduced income. So just, starting to utilize those public benefits like Medicaid, just opened my eyes to a lot of things that I otherwise wouldn't have been introduced to. And so I think that really leads a lot of my leadership and the way that I guide my constituents to those resources. I just want to be people's advocate. I really want to serve them well. I want them to be able to rely on me as their representative, just as I've had to rely on others too during times of need. So, but yeah, born and raised in Kingston, worked in the pizzeria, my family's pizza shop, until I went away to college where I studied communications with a minor in journalism at Marymount Manhattan College, while working full-time as a nanny. Right after graduation, I got into government ops, serving in constituent services with Assemblymember Cahill at the time, before transitioning to Senator Skoufis's team, where I served as his deputy chief of staff.
So it sounds like you've been pretty hands-on, and I actually notice a drill behind you. Would you say that you like to dive into projects, whether they be home projects or community projects?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I'm the type of person that just wants to get the job done. And so if it's cleaning floors or advancing legislation, whatever my constituency needs, that's where I'm going to serve them. I'm definitely a do-it-all type of person. I think that that's why I've been so successful in my growth within the state legislature too. I'm only 28 years old, been in the industry for about 6 years now, and have had the opportunity to serve as a chief of staff, a deputy chief of staff, and the Assembly and Senate respectively. And so I think it's that type of hands-on, get it done attitude that really makes me a great candidate for this position.
What about something that you're passionate about in your personal life? Maybe a hobby of yours or an interest that doesn't typically come up that you'd like to share?
Yeah, so I love kids, kids and old people. That's my jam. That's really, those are individuals that can't always protect themselves and speak for themselves. And so I am always looking for opportunities to serve as an advocate for our youth and for our seniors. During this campaign, I have been pursuing some constituent outreach efforts. And right now we have a luggage drive underway actually for our foster youth, because I found out that when the foster kids have to switch their housing, they put their materials, their clothes in garbage bags. And that just really bothered me, right? That's really disturbing to hear. And we have a great community that has contributed tons of suitcases and different pieces of luggage that we are going to hand over to some of these organizations that care for our foster youth, so that these kiddos have, their own bags that they can put their materials in going forward. And I was able to partner with an individual, Denise, who was previously a foster child herself. So it's one of those things where the stars align. I found out, about the garbage bag situation, and then a few days later, I was introduced to Denise, and I knew that she would be a perfect fit to kind of be the point of contact for this program. And so I'm always looking for ways to uplift other individuals, get them involved in public service, and just do my part as a community leader in kind of, collaborating with my community members.
Yeah, and as a young person, it is hard to engage other young people in politics and civics. So how else can we do that, both for our generation and the generations to come?
Yeah, so I just think that if I work hard and I can get a lot of results for my district, and you can walk down the street and I can point out all of the things that me as a government representative that I was successful in bringing to the community, I think that can help reinstill faith in our government. I always think about some of the young folks that have only been here during like the Trump era, and when they think politics, when they think representation, that's who comes to mind. And I want to change that. I want them to know that, their representatives work for them and they get the job done. And I think that by just doing my job to the maximum, and really delivering results for my district, so I can point out exactly what I as a Democrat can achieve for them, I think that's how we get people more involved in civic engagement and return that faith in government.
And now, what do you do to relax when you're not, on the clock thinking? I know. I hate that question too, Gabby. I really do, because it's like, I never relax. Like, I'm doing these candidate interviews for fun.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But how do you settle your mind?
Yeah, so I really love being outdoors. I mean, growing up in the Hudson Valley, you can't help but love being outside. And so I go for a lot of hikes. I do hiking with the Candidate, once every other week to offer an opportunity for folks to come out. I can speak to a couple grants I secured for different trails, the native species of plants that we're seeing as we hike. And so that's something that I really enjoy doing, just very peaceful, a way to kind of escape. And no cell phones, no computers, just a nice outdoor hike. So yeah.
Wonderful. All right. Well, Gabby, that's a little bit about you. I know there's a lot more to be uncovered, but people can pay attention to your campaign trail and follow you on social media. And thanks for joining us here on Candidate Conversations.
Awesome. Thank you so much.